And we do have one attendee. Are you dressed up because you're doing a cameo in the film?
Thriller?
Yeah, little walk on.
No, it's actually my birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
Oh
Yeah.
man, you have to do this?
Yeah, I don't make a big deal out of my birthday. I just kind of, it's 1 year older. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I kind of make a big deal every day because it's 1 day older.
Yeah, right.
That beats the alternative, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Patrick, you got to give us the signal we're on.
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
It's asking me to reconfirm our credentials on YouTube.
Okay.
All right, so this isn't going to. YouTube has sent a link to an account that I don't have access to.
Okay.
So we're recording and we can post it on YouTube tomorrow.
Okay.
Is that fair?
Sounds good.
All right.
Okay, so I'm going to call the meeting to order. Just so we know, again, I'll repeat it. Ms. Kripe is not able to join us tonight due to illness, and Mayor Daffis is tied up at another meeting and will get here as soon as he can. So we're going to start with the agenda that Ms. Kripe sent out, and the first order is around OEM. So just a quick update that the Community Emergency Response Team training will start next Wednesday, the 24th. I'm sorry, the 17th. And it's a multiple week training. They have to do about 28 hours each volunteer. We have 7 volunteers that have signed up, so we're in good shape. And also the trailer, the CERT trailer that we're having donated to us from the state will be here, I believe, next week. So Chief, we'll probably have a conversation about see if we can build that into any Mayfest activities. I don't know. I would assume your guys are going to have a table there.
Yes, they
So
will.
maybe we can get the trailer there so we can talk about that.
Okay.
And then the other item with the OEM is that our emergency operations plan is due to the state on June 10th. Today was the deadline to get it to the county for review. We're still waiting for 3 annexes, which are chapters, sections, and we're working with department heads. There's 2 department heads that we're working with to get those done. We're at about 700 pages of the EOP right now, so it's a fairly detailed document that tries to spell out any contingency in case of an emergency. So I'm going to move on to the South Essex Fire Department. We, on Tuesday night, the Maplewood Township Committee will be appointing a captain. This will be the last appointment that the Township Committee makes with regard to the fire department. On July 1st. All the employees, all the uniform employees of the two towns that are now assigned to the South Essex Fire Department will go on to the payroll of the South Essex Fire Department. So any future appointments will be covered by the South Essex Fire Department Management Committee. But in this instance, since the Maplewood Township Committee, since the Maplewood still has, the Maplewood firefighters are still on the Maplewood payroll, the Maplewood Township Committee is responsible to make this appointment. And South Orange is doing the same, making a deputy chief appointment. So both of those will be effective on June 1st. And as far as incidents of the fire department, in April, we had 400 calls. Most by far were EMS or medical related. But on average, we get about 13 calls a day. So you can, figure that out to just a little over one every hour, every 2 hours. And we had 5 mutual aid calls that we provided service to. There were 5 building fires. We only had 5 building fires in the month of April. Thankfully, all 5 were out of town. 2 were in Irvington, 1 in East Orange, 1 in Orange, and 1 in Jersey City. So everything else with the South Essex Fire Department is going along fine. Mr. Weary, as you hear, there's tremendous respect for the fire department and the emergency medical services that they provide. They work very well with the police department, and it's generally not a department that we hear complaints about. So that's the good part of it. So hopefully, and so far, they're there when they're needed, and that's the most important part about the fire department. And they provide valuable services year round to us. So, all right, with that, Chief, let's go through. Let's just check this agenda here. So, Chief, let's do your narrative. If you'd like to give us a narrative report.
Yes. So for the narrative report, so I know a big concern in town is the burglaries we're having. These type of burglaries are they'll go into an unlocked window or door, try to take car keys, and then once they get the car keys, they steal the car. We're finding out that it's mostly high-end vehicles, mostly BMW brand vehicles. I'll get to the overtime report. Our overtime is up due to our detectives working these jobs. So our detectives were actually successful in apprehending and making an arrest of 2 juveniles who committed these burglaries, and also they made a 3rd arrest of an adult who broke into a commercial building. So up to date, we have 5 burglaries, 3 are residential and 2 are commercial. Out of those 5, we have 3 arrests. So our detective bureau is working very well, and they through investigation and cameras and information from victims, they were able to make these arrests. So we're at 5. Last year at this time we were at 7. So we are down, and we are making arrests. So that's the hard work of the detective bureau.
Chief, is there anything we should be alerting the public to about these types of burglaries that are coming into the homes and stealing?
Yeah,
I guess they're coming in and taking the keys that are left there and getting into the cars.
yes, and I would say that it's not just Maplewood. This is like a statewide thing that's happening. Our Detective Bureau is working with other jurisdictions and they are exchanging information. And so we do have a lot of intel, and we actually shifted our patrols to for this issue. So we're out there, in those areas for these type of crimes. But it seems like they're taking mostly BMWs and high-end vehicles. So they're making that attempt for those kind of cars. And so far, if they are confronted by the homeowner, they run off. So there's no further confrontation. They're just really looking for the car.
But as weather gets nicer, people need to make sure that their windows and doors are shut and locked.
Right. Windows and doors shut and locked, especially like the first floor windows. The sliding glass window, we had one. But what a lot of these residents have now is helping us is the cameras. So we get a lot of information from these cameras. Motion detector lights are good, and if you do see something like that, call us immediately so we can come out, because we do have officers in the area. So we have that information. If we can be there pretty fast.
Chief, I wanted to ask you about two other things if you're done with what you had. If you have anything else you would like to present?
I do have the monthly report. I don't know if you want me to go through.
Let's hold that just for a second.
Okay.
So the Sally detail, the walking post, how's that going?
Right. So the Sally detail, every time we have these meetings, I look at the time. We should be out there walking now.
Okay.
So that's still going, especially when it gets warmer. So we'll have we'll be seeing more out there.
Right.
As people are walking and out and about. So they are doing those details in the business district, like on Springfield Avenue, in the convenience stores and in the side streets. So yes, we are continuing to walk details, and the Sally details. And this is on top of the walking details. The Sally details are a different thing. I really don't want to talk too much on it, the tactical part of it, but it's we're out there with that as well.
Okay.
Right.
And Patrick, if you stick around long enough, we can name a detail after you, because the Sally detail is named after the chief. So
I look forward to it.
And then, Chief, I wanted to ask you, there was a story in the Ledger about the non-compliance by police departments on the internal affairs reporting requirements. Are you familiar with this?
I'm not familiar with the article. No.
Okay, I'll send it to you. But the state controller tested 100 towns. I don't know which 100 towns, and only 5 had the required information on their websites.
Oh, yeah, ours is up there. So
okay, so we were not listed as the 5. We would have been though.
Right.
Okay, I'll send you this so you see.
Okay.
Because this was something also the State Association of Chiefs of Police said that they were going to vow to do better.
They actually they talked about that at the last meeting I was at.
Okay.
New Jersey State Police.
But as far as we're concerned, we've met all the requirements.
Right, our information is up there. Yes.
Okay. And it has to be in different languages and things like that?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Check that. So.
All right. Maybe we should just check that out.
Right.
Okay. And I'll send you this.
Okay.
Okay. So why don't we get into the report?
Okay. So when I was talking about with the burglaries, that was up to date. So that was 5 burglaries up to now, and 7 burglaries last year up to now. But I'm gonna go back to the monthly report, which is March.
Mm-hmm.
Go back to March. So in March we had year to date 2022 we had 6 burglaries up to March, and up to March this year we had 2. Robberies year to date 2022 up to March, from January to March we had 6 robberies. Up to date from January 2023 to March now we have 1 robbery. So the major crimes are decreasing. Also I have from January to April this year, we had 25 stolen vehicles. From January to April this year. January to April last year, we had 47. So that's a significant decrease. I think that comes from the education we're putting out, where don't leave your cars running, your keys in the car, but also the Sally details as well in our where we're pitting our officers.
Chief, the Ledger had a story today about Kias and another Hyundai, maybe another smaller cars that seem to be targeted. Are we having that problem too?
Yeah, we had
Maybe a Mazda, I guess, and a Kia.
right. I heard about that, but it's not that significant here. I mean, it's like, it's Kias, it's Chevys, it's whatever's running. So
Okay.
yeah. So that's
Okay.
where we're at with that. We did have the Maplewood Diner. We had the aggravated assault where the suspect threw chemicals on the waitress. We did have an arrest in that. The Detective Bureau did an investigation and made an arrest on that case. That was in January. Again, to go back to the burglary, we had the burglary where they entered the home on Fairview and took the BMW. We had arrest on that. We had juvenile arrest on that burglary. We have in March, we had 7 auto thefts, all vehicles running, usually out of business, going inside the store and coming out and the car's not there. There were 19 Part 1 offenses reported in to the New Jersey State Police, and we cleared 6 of those. So that's a 31.58% clearance rate that we have on those kind of crimes. Those are the Part 1s. I'm going to move on to juvenile restorative justice. We had in March, we had zero in March we had zero restorative justice and 0 juvenile arrests in March. So that's my monthly report.
So just so you know, the Community Board on Police talked a bit about the restorative justice program because one of the key volunteers, Reverend Brenda Ellers, is now going to be running a different church in Montclair.
Okay.
So there's probably going to be a recommendation that the town take more responsibility for the program. So we'll be discussing that in the future once we get the recommendation.
Okay. Right.
Patrick, do you have any questions of the chief?
I don't know.
Okay. All right. Chief, let me just look. If there's anything else? Let's talk about Wawa, Chief.
Mm-hmm.
What you can talk to us in public about. We
Right.
have the agreement for them to hire off-duty police officers.
Yes.
And how is that going?
It's going pretty good. The only thing I'm really going to talk about in this session is the stats. Before
Okay.
we had the on-duty police officer, and now from January 2023 to April 11th, 2023, we had 36 incidents there. And so when we start having the paid officer, it was April 12th to May 4th. We've had a total of 10. So a lot of the idling calls have disappeared. The most calls we have while we have an officer there is it's still idling, but it's only 3 during that time frame. We have and we have 1 civil disturbance.
Okay.
Since we had the P officer there. So it seems to be working. It's there is a few things I need to talk about offline about the Wawa, but,
We're gonna go into executive session, so if you want to talk about it, then we can do that.
okay.
And Chief, this morning, we had 3 residents come to our engineering public works meeting, asking for some traffic calming measures on Tuscan Street between Spring and Burnett.
Mhm.
They feel a lot of people are using that as a cut through to beat the light at Burnett and Springfield, to get to the light to Tuscan. And because that's such a short light, they're feeling that people are racing down the road to make that light when they see it green. So the concern about speeding, and then as you know, we had a car that ran into the house there
Mhm.
and is still in the house because of, the structural integrity. The car's actually holding up the house.
Yeah,
So if you could put that on your list of streets to take a look at,
okay,
pay some attention to with your, whether it's the radar or, some detail.
Mhm.
And
yes,
I don't think they told us any particular time of day, but it just sounded like, it was when they were home, so maybe it's in the morning,
Mhm.
maybe, that, but I think it was mostly the road, the people coming off of Burnett, so that would probably most daytime, morning stuff.
Right, right,
People coming in and trying to beat that light down there, so they're making that left and shooting up.
right.
Okay, so if you could focus on that.
Yeah, I think, that whole area needs some more enforcement. Even
Okay.
just pulling out of headquarters, I see, some infractions, so we'll,
Okay.
clear up the whole area.
All right. Okay, so the other items on the discussion, one has to do with pedestrian safety follow-up with engineering and the lighting, street light repairs. So we'll deal with Mr. Kittner on those. We're now going to move into public comment. If there's anyone who would like to address the Public Safety Committee, we ask that you raise your hand and we'll move you over to a panelist and you can speak for 3 minutes. I see we have 2 attendees, so if any of the attendees would like to speak, now would be the time. And we have Chris Martin. Patrick, you can move Chris Martin over.
Mr. Martin, you're now a panelist. If you'd unmute yourself, you'll have 3 minutes to speak.
Thank you. Am I live now?
Yes.
Yeah, good evening. I don't have a full 3 minutes to speak. So I'll save you a little bit of time tonight. But I'm a gentleman that had his house broken into on Plymouth Avenue this past Sunday night, Monday morning.
Mhm.
I also had my car broken into a month earlier while I was on Indiana. I apologize for the lacrosse game in the background. So this is the second time in a month I've had an attempt on my automobile's theft. The second time they entered my home, and I spoke to Mary Mann earlier, and the article that the interview she had with Chief Sally was incorrect. The perpetrator was in my house, not attempted. He was in my house. His sneaker print is on my countertop. So it seems they're following the current trend on canvassing the neighborhood for cars that are easy grabs. And if it's one of the most desirable cars, then they enter the home because I guess there's a market for those. I happen to be one of those unfortunate individuals, fortunate or unfortunate. But to have these gentlemen now in my house, to call them gentlemen is a loose term, is shocking. And also shocking is the attempt to explain away any spike in crime, because there clearly is a spike in crime. So, Chief Sally, I might ask, I had the attempted break-in, I believe it was March 29th. It did not occur in the police blotter. It did not show up. I asked on the Maplewoods website why it didn't show up. I got no response. And that crime was attempted with the stolen Jeep that was stolen the day before. So how is it that a stolen Jeep is running around the neighborhood and is able to attempt a theft on my automobile the next day, 12:30 p.m. Sunday afternoon, with my kids, my daughter here, and my son who's playing the game, looking straight on. They're getting bolder, and I don't believe for a second there's no reduction in crime. So any response, I don't know if you can give responses, maybe you can, but I'm upset about the fact that it wasn't in the blotter, and upset about the insistence on the minimizing the spike in crime, because I believe I see it, and I'm going to do more work. I'll do what I can to help. Both times I had my hands on the individuals, and smart or not smart, I'm willing to do my part. So
Yeah.
I just ask that you listen.
Okay.
Thank you, Charlie.
Yeah, Mr. Martin, your job in Plymouth was no, we recorded that as a burglary. I didn't say that was suspicious or the in the article. I mentioned 5 burglaries. Yours was one of the burglaries.
Yeah, no, on the 29th, though, on the attempt at my car on 133 Indiana, it was not reported. And that crime was committed with the vehicle stolen the day before.
Yeah, I understand. We treat the burglaries, the car thefts, the same way. We don't, do less of an investigation, but we might not put all the car thefts on the blotter. It was a straight car theft or a car recovery, but a burglary we would put on a blotter.
Yeah, I found it disturbing because the report of the car that was used to commit the crime against me, it was not only a attempted theft, but it was also a hit and run. Ran over my foot, and I sustained an injury on my elbow from the individuals. Not reported, but the car recovered in Newark was reported. So it seems to put a positive spin on a situation that, in my mind, was not positive.
Okay, I'll look into that.
Thank you.
Mr. Martin, I'm sorry that you had this happen. We were talking a little earlier about the stats, and I believe, Chief, you said last year at this time we had 7 burglaries, and this year we have 5.
Yes.
And I know if you're one of the 5, it doesn't matter, right? It's still
right.
So we are.
Yeah.
We are looking. We're looking to get that to 0 if possible.
Right. And even if it's not a burglary, if it's a suspicious condition or whatever, we investigate those just as seriously as we do if it was a burglary. It's not like it's investigated differently. It's just recorded differently on our stats.
Yeah, I would argue that your staff differs on your opinion there. That when I asked why they took so long to show up the first time, I asked if they were following, and they weren't. I said he went that way down Springfield. He went right just a minute ago. I'm sorry, we're not allowed to follow him. So and I said, why not? Well, we're not allowed to. We're not permitted. I know there was a state mandate. The district attorney's office said that they are not allowed to follow. And I don't like to say chase because people get very fired up when you say high-speed chase. They see Dukes of Hazzard. They see high-speed chases. I'm not asking for that. I'm asking for a simple following them to try to get more information. That car was prowling around our town for a day before they hit me. So if they're prowling around, why wouldn't they car? I understand that there's a limited staff, but your officers seem to have a different point of view.
Okay. So Chief, you're going to check out stuff, and then could you follow up with Mr. Martin?
Yes, we'll do.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Martin.
I know this is a difficult job, and I mean no disrespect, and I know I'm upset. I question the numbers that are coming to us because maybe some people don't report, and my police blotter incident was not even recorded. So there's at least one more that goes to the I don't know, you report to the county or whatever. So
So just to be clear on that, because what gets put on the police blotter is not the official. What gets put on the uniform crime report is the official.
That's correct.
So those things do get captured on the UCR, and that goes to the state police. Is that correct, Chief?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else want to address the the Public Safety Committee? Okay, seeing no one, we will now go into executive session. We have an incident at the high school we want to talk about. We want to get a little more detail on some of the special details we're running. And also we have a grievance. So I'm going to adjourn the public meeting and we're going to move into executive session. So, Mr. Weary, we will stop the recording for the executive session. And
Yes, I can remove the two current attendees
yes,
from the webinar and then
Yes.
start the recording. So just one moment.
okay.